difficulté. The following is a pronunciation guide to help out with some of the more difficult to pronounce not-V sounds. This is for the learnnotv.org forums. We're going to start off with the not-V vowels, and the not-V vowels are a, e, I, o, u. The first one we're going to do is the letter A or A, and this one's pretty easy, but you want to make sure you get it right. This is the letter A found in the English word father. Ah. Ah. The next letter is A with an umlaut above it, which is the two dots. And this is another easy one, but it's worth mentioning since a lot of people tend to turn it into the A we just did from father. This sounds, though, like the A in cat, or ah. Ah. The next vowel we have is represented by the character E. This one isn't too difficult at all, as most English speakers pronounce it in words like ember and exit. What's tricky, however, is that English doesn't have a word that ends in that sound, the result of which is that most speakers turn it into I, E, or eh when it appears terminally. Just remember that this is always. If you have any difficulties, just imagine that the word in question ends before the then quickly add an English word which starts with one. So if we're using ejectives as an example, just add exit to the end and you'll have exit, and then drop the xit from the English word exit and you end up with ejectives. The next vowel we have is represented by the letter I and is pronounced E. This can confuse a lot of people since in English we don't use I at the start of a word to represent this sound. You hear this mistake a lot in the not-V word irayo. This I in not-V is like the I in the English word machine, or simply the English letter E. E. The next vowel we have is an accented I. This is easy for most English speakers, as this is the usual sound that we're familiar with the character I making. This is the I found in the English words thin and bit. It is pronounced I. I. The next vowel we have is represented by the character O. This one comes naturally for some speakers, but is more difficult for others. The important thing to remember is that this is not your normal English O, which is a diphthong, and sounds like O. Nor is this a covered O, which, for most American speakers, sounds like ah, the sound you have in on. The O we're looking for here is the O in the English word mow. O. O. And the final vowel we have is represented by the character U. To do this sound, make a monkey sound, and you notice how your lips are rounded like you're sucking through a straw. Keep your lips and tongue like that, but this time blow the air out as if blowing out a candle. You should form the sound oo. Oo. Now we'll move on to not-V diphthongs. A diphthong is when vowel sounds glide together, such as in the English word boy. The first not-V diphthong we're going to do is AY. This is a fairly easy one, but a typical error that people make is they pronounce AY as A, as in face. It's not that. It's I, like your eye, or simply the letter I. I. The next one is EY. It's easy to associate this one with A, as in May, but it's A. The closest English word to this is face, where in the middle we have the diphthong A. Another more convoluted method, if you utter as in exit and yet in a rapid succession, this would give you something similar to Elliot without the L, and you end up with A. A. The next diphthong we're going to do is AW. This one's really easy. If you can say a wide open ouch without the final ch sound, then you can say this. This diphthong is also found at the end of the English word now. Ow. Ow. The next diphthong we have is EW. This sound isn't particularly difficult, but its spelling may lead to some confusion because in English, EU and EW stand for various things, none of which come close to the not vive pronunciation. Thus, there is no easy way to demonstrate this sound. Here's a somewhat artificial example though. First utter like before, then follow up with word. If you do it right, you should end up saying Edward without the first D. Eward. Ew. Ew. Now we're going to move on to not V pseudovowels. In certain not V syllables, the L and R can replace the vowel. When they do replace the vowel, they are lengthened, and the R is strongly trilled, and the L is always front and light in your mouth. These are written as a double L and a double R, respectively. First, we're going to start with the double L. This shouldn't be too hard. Just remember that it is the L sound in leap and not the L sound in cool, even if it is at the end of the word. Some speakers pronounce the two the same way. If you're one of them, just say no and feel how your tongue touches the part of the palate right behind the teeth. Now keep your tongue there, say again if you have to, and then say L low, starting from the same position. The fact that this sound is syllabic only means that it doesn't need a vowel to receive stress. English has syllabic consonants too. Just think of kindle. At the end of the word, you have a perfect syllable with just the L. So, in review, this is L. L. The other pseudovowel not V has is the double R, or trilled R. This is probably the worst one for most people. It sounds like a purr or an idling engine. If you can make those sounds with your tongue and not in your throat, then you're probably very close to the rolled R. Another good way to try this is to listen to samples of rolled R's online and try to match those. If you speak an accent that has the alveolar flapped R, i.e. if you can say naughty the way Natiri says naughty, then you can try trilling that sound. To do that, first try to repeat it quickly by saying something like betty t t t t t t t, making sure that you don't switch to uttering just a T sound. Betty t t t t t t. This is so you can get your tongue used to the movement similar to the trilled R. Now, while doing that, just as your tongue touches the palate of your mouth, blow on it hard so that it flaps in the air from your mouth. You don't actually move your tongue to create the trill, the air from your lungs does that. All you have to do is hold it roughly in place. If you pronounce naughty with a T though, you're out of luck. Otherwise, another good starting point is to take the sound T as in take. Or better yet, if you can take the L sound from the word lake. But this only works if you pronounce lake by touching the L to the palate of your mouth. From either of those two positions, try to say rake, and pay attention to the tip of your tongue as it almost but not quite touches the palate of your mouth. This will sound like rake. Also notice that this is the not V alveolar flapped R. If you can do that already, then that's another great starting point. Rake. Now once you have rake down, take a deep breath, and while saying the beginning of rake, blow on your tongue while trying to say it. Eventually it'll come, and it'll sound like rrr, rrr.